Hi there and welcome to another Ginger Prince production video, this time venturing into the world of philosophy. I'm going to look at an argument for the existence of God. It's a version of the Kalam Cosmological argument that William Lane Craig quite often uses. The version of the argument in its most simple form is on the screen. I'm going to be looking at the first premise: whatever begins to exist has a cause of its existence. I'm going to look at that first premise and show that it is in fact fallacious. So stay tuned. So let's look at the Kalam cosmological argument. As Craig sets it out in its simplest form, he does have a couple of other premises thrown in, or sub-premises thrown in, but I'm going to ignore them because they're not important for what I'm going to say today. The argument goes like this: whatever begins to exist has a cause of its existence. The universe began to exist, therefore the universe has a cause of its existence. So this would argue, or be used to argue, for the existence of God, since the universe needs explaining in having a cause of its existence. God would step into that explanatory void and do the business of explaining the existence of the universe, because it began to exist. I'm not going to bother with premise 2 and 3, although they are premises which can be critically looked at, and I think I will do in a future video. But I want to look at premise 1: whatever begins to exist has a cause of its existence. On the surface it sounds pretty obvious, that chair falling over has a cause to its falling over. The cause is me pushing it. That cake over there on the table has a cause of its existence. The cause of its existence is the person that baked it. So everything seems on the surface to have a cause to its existence, but actually this is something which is a fundamentally flawed premise, and that is exactly what the rest of the video will be looking at. Whatever begins to exist has a cause of its existence. The universe began to exist, therefore the universe has a cause of its existence. It seems somewhat presumptuous to make a generalised rule about something that has only happened, to our knowledge, and that is itself open to a challenge, once, and in such a way that we do not know the causal process, and therefore cannot make a generalised rule. What Craig is doing here is making a statement based on observations within a system to create a rule that supposedly governs the system itself. On face value, it may seem true that everything within this cosmos that begins to exist has a cause. However, on closer examination, one can see that nothing comes into existence in our cosmos, not in any material sense anyway. All things that begin to exist already existed in a different or rearranged form. For example, one might think that there is a preceding cause to a radio coming into existence, the company that designed and manufactured it, and yet the radio already existed, but merely in different atomic structures, the plastics as oil, the metal in their respective ores, etc., etc. In fact, looking at the finite matter of the universe, the only thing that has come into existence has been the universe itself. Therefore, it is incoherent to claim that all things that come into existence have a preceding cause, when the only thing that has come into existence is the very thing whose existence we are trying to fathom. This argument, though, is not as simple as meets the eye. Someone in Craig's position may claim that the abstract idea of a radio did indeed come into existence at the point of it being manufactured, or even the point of it first being thought of. The argument then becomes a matter of whether abstract objects and ideas exist objectively, and this is known as a problem of universals. Are strength, or the quality of redness, objective realities? Do they exist in the universe out there somewhere as real things? Is William Craig himself an objective reality? Or is the only reality that exists the atoms and energy that make up his corporeal personhood? When does a beach become a beach objectively? The slippery slope fallacy, or the theory of the beard, would hold that there is an arbitrary point, the number of granules of sand, at which we can label the beach a beach. It's pretty subjective. Craig, to hold to the cosmological argument, the Kalam Cosmological argument, must adhere to something called realism. That is to say, he must believe that abstract thoughts and ideas have objective realities in order to come into existence. We know this because, as stated, the only things that can be argued to come into existence, since all matter or energy already existed since the beginning of the universe, the only thing that can come into existence are abstract ideas. And if premise one is to have any sort of meaning or coherence, then abstract things must exist, i.e. come into existence. Remember, whatever begins to exist has a cause of its existence. Personally, as a nominalist, which is someone that doesn't believe in the objective reality of abstract ideas, I find it impossible to grant that universals, abstract ideas, have objectively real existence. It appears that abstract ideas have no objective reality, that seeing the redness of a new car is a reaction that my brain has in the situation of seeing the car, but that quality itself is not objectively existent. Let us look then at nominalism. Do I have any basis to allow myself to be a nominalist, to be someone that denies the objective existence of abstract ideas? Plato was probably the first philosopher to deal with the problem of universals, the existence of abstracts. He believed that there was another realm, another dimension aside from the physical world where abstracts exist. Now this seems quite odd that the belief or the idea of my new car being shiny and red, this idea of shiny and red exists in another dimension, another realm outside of this one, outside of space and time. With our modern understanding of the world, this does seem a little far-fetched. Naturalism, as a worldview, would deny such an existence outside of space and time. The locus of existence, a place of existence for universals, does remain a problem that realists, people that believe in the objective existence of abstracts, it's a problem that realists fail to be able to answer. Where do these abstract ideas exist? Another possibility is that the abstract ideas do exist in the mind and not as an external reality. This is a position which I could logically hold and is known as conceptualism. However, if abstract ideas can exist but only in the mind, then the argument then devolves to one of dualism against monism, or some kind of physicalism. In other words, does the mind exist in a realm outside of the natural world, dualism, or can the mind be explained within the context of the physical world, monism or physicalism? Occam's razor can be called in here to the defence of physicalism and nominalism. Need we rely on the existence of another as yet empirically unevidenced dimension to explain minds and universals? The debate about consciousness will no doubt rage for some years to come, though it seems that little evidence has been added to the Cartesian argument for dualism, and much progress has been made in understanding consciousness in terms of physical explanations or physical dependency.